That way, even if you sniffle a little, they won't hear you. If anybody knows that you're crying, they'll start talking about it, and soon it'll be your turn to get beat up when the lights go out. There's a mirror over the steel sink in my cell. It's 6 inches high and scratched with the names of some guys who were here before me. When I look into the small rectangle, I see a face looking back at me, but I didn't recognize it. It doesn't look like me. I couldn't have changed that much in a few months. I wonder if child is also. They say you get used to being in jail, but I don't see how. Every morning I wake up and I'm surprised to be here. If our life outside was real, then everything in here is just the opposite. We sleep with strangers, wake up with strangers, and go to the bathroom in front of strangers. They're strangers, but they still find reasons to hurt each other. Sometimes I feel like I have walked into the middle of a movie. It is a strange movie with no plot and no beginning. The movie is in black and white and grainy. Sometimes the camera moves in so close that you can't tell what is going on, and you just listen to the sounds and guess. I've seen movies of prisons, but never one like this. This is not a movie about bars and locked doors. It is about being alone when you are not really alone, and about being scared all the time. I think to get used to this, I will have to give up and what I think is real and take up something else. I wish I can make sense of it. Maybe I can make my own movie. I could write it out and play it in my head. I could block out the scenes like we did in school. The film will be the story of my life. No, not my life, but of this experience. I'll write it down. In the notebook they let me keep. I'll call it what the lady who is in the prosecutor called me. Monster.
And we are all actors on stage. However, for some of the actors, there are no cuts or retakes. It's a series of untimed events that lead to perceived character misfortune. However, for some of the characters on stage.
God come to the house and tell Vonnie we got termites. I get home and he all upset. I said, there's no way we got termites. No way.
Hold on, you ever seen a termite?
No, I don't even know what it looked like.
These termites look like vicious big ants with wings. Just look nasty looking.
Ants, the little small
The small little nasty ants you see on the ground.
Then I've never seen one.
You don't ever want to see one.
I heard they live in the woods. Oh my God. Hold on. How they got wings and live in the woods?
We don't know. Probably one of them dragonflies.
Excuse me, Your Honor. Are you going to let us do the affidavit of the crime scene now?
Any objections?
Who gonna read it in the book?
The clerk.
No objections.
Can I ask you what's with the detective?
The detective. Oh. It seems the detective's having a problem with a hemorrhoid operation.
Wait, I didn't know that. Maybe we could keep him on the stand for an hour or two.
Detective Curl, can you describe the scene as you entered the drugstore?
It was pretty gruesome.
Are these the pictures you took at the time?
The crime scene photographer took them.
Detective Curl, when you discovered the body, were there any signs of life in the victim?
No, but I called the emergency medical service, which is a standard procedure.
And you know the open cash register?
That's correct. And at the time I asked the clerk if there anything else missing. Often in these cases you might find some cough medicine missing or an attempt to obey a restricted drug case. There's a market of drugs of any kind.
Did you look for any other clues and did you find any?
We looked for other clues, but we didn't actually find anything.
Eventually you began questioning suspects in this case. How did you come across the suspects?
We questioned a number of people we might have some knowledge on the crime. Then we got a tip from a person who so-called claimed You knew what happened to the cigarettes.
That would be Mr. Zinzi.
That's correct. Mr. Zancy told us about Mr. Bowden, and Mr. Bowden told us about Mr. King and Mr. Evans.
And both Mr. Zinzi and Mr. Bowden had their own motives of doing this.
We often use information from informants, especially in murder cases,
And did you talk to Mr. King?
to Mr. King and some of his associates. They're saying that you pulled the trigger. King said that the score was over, but you turned back and shot Nesbitt. Why did you do it? I can't figure it.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. I ain't do no sticker.
You figure you didn't want to leave any witnesses, I guess.
What are we playing with this guy for? We don't need him. We got the case locked.
The DA is thinking death penalty.
Death penalty. Chances are the judge will push for life without parole. And if they come clean, he might even go for 25 to life. You save a lot of time and money that way.
I don't know. The victim was a well-respected black guy, worked his way up. He even sponsored a little league team. The judge could go for death penalty if they plead not guilty.
This guy's only 16. They won't kill him.
What are you, a pessimist? Hope for the best.
It is 5 months since the trial, almost a year, minus a few days since the robbery in the drugstore. James King was sentenced to 25 years to life. Osvaldo was arrested for stealing a car and sent to a reformatory. As far as I know, Bobo is still in jail. After the trial, my father, with tears in his eyes, held me close and said that he was thankful that I did not have to go to jail. He moved away, and the distance between us seemed to grow bigger and bigger. I understand the distance. My father is no longer sure of who I am. He doesn't understand me, even knowing people like King, or Bobo, or Osvaldo. He wonders what else he doesn't know. That is why I take the films of myself. I want to know who I am. I want to know the road to panic that I took. I want to look at myself 1,000 times to look for one true image. When Miss O'Brien looked at me after we had won the case, what did she see that caused her to turn away? What did she see?
I choose to write for the voices whose voices remain unheard from poor choices of birth, choiceless. And I choose to write for liberation, encourage emancipation from mental manipulation, pushed by the media stations that aim to play on your fear, like the Dow is down here when the Great Depression is near. If they ever see my hood, the Great Depression is there, so we don't fear no damn recession, cause the oppression we bear for real.
Alright, listen. Alright. Monster relates to society and the stuff that's going on today, because it's like it reflects on me as a black male of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and how that can change your whole life just by you being associated with the wrong people.
Listen to what I'm saying. When at my desk, I sometimes listen to the conversation.
What I learned from Monster is that I learned that even innocent people can be suspected as being guilty, because they say that you are innocent until proven guilty, but yet they still lock you up.
While reading Monster, the literary device that we learned was flashback. Flashback is when you learn background information of the character to help.
Keep going.
Background information of the character.
What does it help you learn?
Now, why you moving? I don't know.
You was trying to say I excluded going to jail?
Why? Why was he trying to say that? What makes you think that's what he was trying to say?
Because how the school was just down the street from the prison. And who put the school by the prison? Like, what type of example is that?
Detach its roots. How can a child detest a lie if they ain't learned the truth? Here's my message to the youth. Your memories ain't bigger than your dreams. With resiliency and faith, you can accomplish anything. And when it seems that the road ahead is dark, just remember that without the night, we couldn't see the stars. Without the moon's light, we never see the sunrise. Sometimes your darkest hour is a blessing in disguise.
Oh, if I could fly.
where I come from, there is no snitching. It's all about each other. So where you grow up is around who you are. So if it's your community, you need to help your community out. So if someone is doing harm to your community, you do what you're supposed to do. It's not called snitching. It's called telling the truth.
God that guides my vision to make a difference to the injustice I witness while working within the system. Suspensions and expulsions is sending them to the prison and city jail. They say it's hard to find one God within their many hells. They grow dreads just to rebel. You may know him well. He broke the rules and all
Tone is the attitude of the art. We convey tone in the book Monster because you can tell throughout the book that Steve Harmon was scared and he was terrified because he didn't know if he was going to be in jail for 25 years to life. And then we conveyed it in the film project because it would be pretty much used close-ups to show the anger in some of the lawyers when we was on trial, and then we showed Steve Harmon being terrified on a close-up when he thought that he was going to jail. Cut. Well,
and I pray that God give me wings to fly.
The view that society should have on Black youth now, we should not be stereotyped as monsters, because even though we try to get our anger out in a negative way, everybody see us as something that we're not.